Chapter 7, A Difficult Choice.
Hello. Do you miss me?
Well, of course, that really... No, this can't be. Bakura laughed softly at my stutter and bringing himself out of the shadows. I guessed as I saw his soul self. Bakura was the same as I last saw when we faced each other in Duelist Kingdom. Still with the same white hair that sticks out. Still with the same eyes I am. Still with the same red, wine-colored, brown, mocking-like eyes. What's even stranger is that he's wearing a familiar outfit that I used to wear in Battle City. Blue and white striped shirt over a blue open collared shirt with blue jeans and running sneakers. He gave a gleaming canine grin at me and said, placing his hand over him,
"Why don't you come in? You're still not scared of little me, are you?"
You know, the truth is that I'm scared and still frightened of him up till now. The way his eyes glow evilly at me. The way he brought a smirk on his lips. The way psychotic laughter rings steadily to my ears. So this explains why I'm hearing his voice and seeing his image earlier. This is what I feared that I hoped would never come true. The fear of Bakura's return one day. But the real mystery is why.
Come down, you shouldn't be afraid of me. I won't hurt you. Speechless I see. Well then, let me help you.
Seeing my confused face, Bakura motioned one of his hands out, closing into a fist and bringing his arm back to his side. The next thing I noticed that he gave a startled cry when I noticed my manipulated legs were forcibly pulling me inside. I struggled and squirmed, trying all I can to get my legs to stop moving. It's like they have no control of their own will. "Let me go! Let me go!" I cried out. "Let me go, I say!" But all Bakura only did was chuckle at me, thinking how foolish my efforts are.
Quit resisting me and struggling. Besides, aren't you happy to see me?
I bit my lip, giving a terrifying whimper in reply. How could I be so happy to see him? He made my life miserable while he enjoys possessing me like a puppet on a string. Who would want such a thing? Maybe he's happy to see me instead. The moment my legs finally reached him, the control of them uplifted, and were back to my own. Collapsing hard upon the ground to my knees, I realized my legs became too wobbly and numb to support. Bakura crouched down before me, lifting his chin to his eye level, to see me still whimpering cowardly.
"Ah, you're whimpering, how cute,"
he cheekily said, patting the side of my face, still giving an evil smirk.
"Your whimper reminds me of a caramel. I take it that you are. Now let's shut that rusty door, shall we?"
I watched Bakura expression the glare of the open iron door for a second. I turned around and gave a squeak when I saw the iron door creak with a closing thud. What? How was he?
That's much better, don't you agree? Now then.
Bakura returned his smirked expression and brought one of his arms above his head, snapping his fingers as the sound of it echoed in the silent darkness of the room. Surprisingly, the sound seemed to trigger a light above our heads. I blinked, realizing Bakura's room for the first time. I admit I never wandered in his room before, but only remained in my own. As you know, I never get along with Bakura. But now that I'm in the room, I noticed that most of the room was misted in a fog that I've been sent to so many times, the shadow realm.
I know it's not much, but why don't you look over there?
Bakura then pointed somewhere far to the right. I narrowed my eyes through the fog of the shadow realm. Over there, in the shroud of shadows, lies an ancient table that looks like the shape of an upside-down pyramid. But it's not just any pyramid. It's the replica of the Millennium Puzzle. He waved his hand with a flick, revealing a model that mostly destroyed, a model that seemed too realistic, probably worked on for so many months of craftsmanship.
It's a pity how terrible the effort of working on it and the plan for months had turned to my demise, and once again, the Pharaoh of Egypt has thwarted me and accomplished his so-called destiny along with the help of his vessel. I frowned at this. When it comes to the Pharaoh and the topic, it means Bakura's mentioning about Yugi wasn't part of the subject. So wait a minute, so isn't this the model of ancient Egypt 5,000 years ago? So you're catching on.
Yes, this is the exact same replica of ancient Egypt 5,000 years ago, he explained as he sat himself down.
I seem to have come to your senses at last.
Why are you telling me and showing me this? I asked suspiciously. What does this have to do with what you're doing here? What's your purpose of being here, and what is your main goal this time? Bakura wagged a finger at me in response, shaking his head.
You're suspecting me of planning something evil, I see. Well, does it look like I've done something yet? Is this how you greet me when I just returned? That's kind of rude of you, you know. Didn't your parents ever teach you any manners? And even after all I'd done for you. No, don't even start that after all I'd done for you rubbish. I furiously growled. You've never done anything right for me. Instead, you did the opposite and decided to do things your way.
You hurt my friends and put everyone in danger. You placed some of my past friends' souls into dolls. You nearly killed Yugi and the others twice, not 3 times in a row. How do you explain what you've done for me ever since we met? Isn't bad at all. For all I know, you will never see me more than just a festival host to occupy. Bakura yawned, patting in front of his mouth in a more sophisticated way. Is that all you think of me? Well then, after you're done bragging how I hurt your friends and all, then let's get serious about what you questioned me earlier. Bakura then brought his hand down and looked up at my appearance, grinning a sweet smile. But before I continue, I don't think that coat goes well with you. In an instant, with the snap of his fingers again, the black coat was wrapped around me, was gone, and the next second the shirt was once on him, was replaced with the black coat on Bakura. Raising his arms out, he examined the coat carefully, probably checking if it still fits and suits him well. After sweeping off a few dust from the coat, his expression became a satisfied smirk and said, It's amazing that I'm still attached to this coat, and how it still feels right to wear. Like I said, that coat was not meant for you, and I recall you don't wear dark clothing. But that's enough about that. It's time to deal with the real issue that's on your mind. Besides, at the matter at hand, you seem to also have so many questions dancing within your troubled head. Wait, how did you... Bakura rolled his eyes and sighed, toying with the model that looked like a peasant in long light blue hair in front of him. Even though I can hear you through my link in here, I don't need to know your thoughts to see that. Your fearful eyes tell me so in 1,000 ways. I paused and lowered my head. Of course he knows. He's still my other half, no matter how much I wanted to deny it. Well, I guess I should start up by asking her what you used the model for. I see your concern. Well, just to answer one of your simple-minded questions from your curiosity of mine, let's just say I use your model to play with a little game with the pharaoh. Bakura then propped his elbow against the edge of the table, knocking out a huge doll of Zord with a push of his index finger. But it's not just any ordinary game. It was a game beyond duel monsters. You could say it's sort of like what happened when I sent your little friends in your Monster World game. He paused and stares at me, wondering if I was going to react. When I didn't, he continued casually. But of course everything was going to plan, and I could have had it all. But I was too stubborn and underestimate the pharaoh again with his belief in the heart of the cards instead of so-called friendship. Why don't you tell me something? I bit my lip as Bakura brought himself to lean back against his chair, narrowing his eyes at another doll that resembles Yugi. Oh no, I remember that whenever he questions me with that tone, it's probably something. Since you speak highly of your so-called friends, and even though you hardly hang out with them, you seem to know much more than I do. Why is it that my last plan foiled? It was supposed to be foolproof, and I have checked my strategy for months. Yet in the end, I lost it all. You better give me an honest answer, or there's a consequence you'll have to pay. As he says this, I watch in horror as he caused a pressure to the doll, causing it to crack slightly in his pale, fisted clutches. I go feeling my mouth dry for every second I stand before him. Even though it's just an ordinary doll, I feel if I said something wrong, I couldn't help imagining the doll could end up being a sign that'll hurt Yugi. Possibly if Bakura somehow managed to seal Yugi's hole into it just like before, I would never forgive myself that one of my friends would get hurt because of me. Bakura would make sure it would happen. Bakura never changes his attitude towards me, and I'm guessing he never will. Carefully, I replied bravely. Well, I could honestly say that it's just their faith in each other. Yugi, the pharaoh, and the others depend on one another as a team. When they work together as friends, they always have each other's back whenever things have gone. I then grew silent once more as Bakura thought through my answer for a moment, rubbing his chin thoughtfully. He seemed to be deciding whether it's true or not. After a few more intense minutes, he then spoke out. So what you say is that good triumphs over evil. When your friends team up and care for one another, their combined strengths 4 to 1, and your spirit of love and trust becomes unstoppable. Bakura lowered his head, smirking devilishly. How interesting what power friends can be able to do. That's all I need to know. At least. But it seems you have 2 more questions disturbing you, correct? It's those questions you blurted out earlier when you were being rude. I froze and nodded. Well, yes, I've been wondering. How did you come back? I thought you were vectors to the afterlife or something. Do you honestly want to know? Of course, Snort seemed to expect a question like this from me. Who made disappears to the afterlife with that pestering pharaoh? Yeah, as if, he spat fettishly. I know I don't belong in the afterlife with that pharaoh and his so-called friends. They'll treat me like scum, and I'll instead be sent to the underworld, or hell, as your boys call it. Well, as for how I came back, it's quite simple. He raised his head and flashed his greedy brown red eye
wide eyes at me, stating out, "You're still the vessel of me, and I did remember that I promised that I'd keep you for eternity." I found myself getting pale when I noticed the old scheme drive on his face. Why is he giving me that look? No, he can't possibly be. Don't jump to conclusions yet. It might not be what I think it is. What? But that's just ridiculous. I thought I was free from... Bakura narrowed his eyes at me, bringing himself upright from his chair, and as I cowered in fear, backing away slowly toward the wall. With each step I back away from him, Bakura gave a step toward, at least a little more forward, toward me. I thought... You thought I was gone forever? You thought you were free from my clutches? A chill went down my spine as he gave out an echoing laugh that fills the entire room. His insane laugh was so terrifying it made the back of my hair stand in. You didn't think that even though the Millennium Items are buried, you think you were free from the ring itself and spies? No such thing, I'm afraid. When I mentioned that you're the only vessel that seemed to be similar to me, I mean it. It's been 5,000 years that I've waited for the right host to occupy myself in. I've searched and searched, and most of the hosts I chose have become a victim to wear the ring and suffer pain severely injured themselves the moment they wear it. But just when I thought all hope was lost, I eventually found you, and you passed. I backed away again. Past hosts that wore the ring actually suffered? Are you saying that the ring was supposed to be my inheritance all this time? This can't be true. It can't be. I won't let it be. The ring was supposed to be buried permanently with the others, and I want to stay it that way. Bakura gave another step toward me. You're a special host, a host I hardly meet that's related to me. So you have no choice in the matter whether you want the ring or not. It was destined to be with you since the beginning. It goes through generations of your family since 5,000 years ago when we first created it. I watched and witnessed the horrible creation of the Millennium Items made of all the bodies by people of Kelowna, including my own kind. I waited so long to get my revenge upon the Pharaoh of his father's people's doings, and now that chest was destroyed. But it doesn't mean I'm done yet. I'm not down for the count yet. And besides, I have business to take care of. 2 steps back. What a business? What kind of business exactly are you planning? 4 more steps forward, he cornered me against the cold stone wall. Nowhere to run. Well, let's just say a business that needs to be taken care of. It's a business that I should have done in the first place. You see, I grown sick and tired of getting my fun spoiled after how many times I tried to get my plan in motion. And each time I do so, the Pharaoh and the others always get in my way. But not anymore. I still have a few tricks up my sleeve, and this time the Pharaoh's not here to spare anyone. And I'm afraid this is when you come in as a part of it. No, that dark expression he's giving me is the same look he gave me every time he plans something that involves me. Well, I thought that once Yugi's other self is gone, I thought that you... No, I only guarantee that I'll be gone when my task is done. Unfortunately, it didn't come out that way, and all my plans are foiled no matter how many hits I'm doing to those annoying friends of yours. My eyes widened. So that's what he's planning. That's why he came back. He came back for revenge to target them. I clenched my hands into fists. I might as well fight for myself. Maybe I can be able to stop him before he can get to them. Now I know what you're planning. Well, I won't let you hurt my friends. You'll have to fight against me to get through them. I'll make sure I'll warn them about you and they'll stop you, even without the Pharaoh. Oh, is that so? Well, I thought you would say that. He then grins and placed his hand in his pocket. When he pulled it out, I was shocked as Bakura opened his fist to reveal a doll. From the details of the doll, I saw that it had blue hair that was tied in a ponytail, wore an expiration hat, and matching clothing with black boots in it. The moment it saw me, I could have sworn it had a frightful look at its eyes. Recognize this doll? He looks familiar, doesn't he? Bakura then tossed the doll into my hands and said, Take a closer look at it. Do you remember who this is? I recall it's been a while since you've last seen his face. I caught the doll in my hands, holding it out before me. Those green eyes, and that face. Can this be? I then glared at Bakura, who gave me a canine devil of a smile at me, holding a familiar item. He's gone too far this time, way too far. How dare he do such a horrible thing? I then whispered harshly, I'm holding the doll in my hand from my sides. What have you done to my father? I'll tell you if you do as I say. If you obey my orders, your father will have his soul back. If not, then your father's soul will automatically be sent to the shadow forever. It's your choice. You either obey me or go ahead and go against me. I bit my lip, shaking with anger, as I keep holding the doll of my father. How dare you get away with it? What should I do? I want to save my friends and also save my father. But he's not giving me an option to do both. If I choose to save my friends, then my father's soul will never be revived back to his body. Besides, Bakura could be the only one to reverse what he had done, and he has the item to prove it.
If I chose to save my father, then the downside is Bakura can get rid of Yugi and the others. It'll be my fault that their lives will be in danger. Oh, if only there was a way to do both.
Well, have you made your decision?
I twitched, bringing my knees to the floor as tears flowed down my cheeks. I brought my head down, shutting my eyes. Fine, I'll do what you wish. But you must promise to bring back my father's soul into his body. I felt sick as Bakura chuckled at my weakness, knowing he had won. He then raised his head and darkly replied,
It's a fine choice. I knew you cared preciously dear for them both, and I knew I made it tough on you. A shame you can't save the boat, can you? Now put this on.
He removed the Millennium Ring and shoved the glowing ring in front of me.
We have a lot of catching up to do.